directed at them every day. No one is
I guess no one gets to finish a sentence here anymore. Okay.
No, I think
Ooh,
the
here we
point
go.
Melissa's making here is she is a free speech.
Don't speak for her. She speaks very well for herself.
No, but
we're going to have this conversation. Then let's have it.
All right, go ahead.
Because if we're going to do that,
Clinton Jaws, The View. We got some, we're going to talk about some misinformation, disinformation, fact-checking, because these guys are the experts. Let's, the fight? I love the fights. Let's watch the experts.
So, that being said, now we're going to something kind of surprising, I guess.
Just so you know.
Online misinformation and hate speech continue to plague social media. Meta and Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says he's following the footsteps of ex-owner Elon Musk by getting rid of third-party fact-checking.
Yes.
On the site.
Yes.
Now, here's what he said yesterday.
What'd he say?
We've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms.
Attaboy.
We're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes, similar to X.
Boy.
I'm just curious because human rights activists warn that this is a major step back that'll have misinformation, conspiracy theories, and bigotry running wild on the site. My question is, when did fact-checking become a bad thing?
Well, Whoopi, if you would have let Mark finish his sentence, he tells you.
First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes, similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote non-stop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact-checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US.
When did fact-checking become a bad thing?
2016.
Since Donald Trump became president.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Let me interrupt you. What does free speech have to do with fact-checking?
Because it's imperfect. It's not as simple as the sky is blue, the grass is green. We know the facts on that. Sometimes it comes into opinions or viewpoints. This is still a town square. I tend to be a free speech absolutist as long as it's not harming someone else.
We know the difference between an opinion and a fact. Sure. We went from Walter Cronkite basically to this guy Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons. He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that? As long as it's not harming someone else.
We know the difference between an opinion and a fact.
We do, but a lot of this can be viewpoints where somebody could say, well, this is my viewpoint on it, and they were moderating things around language you used around certain issues.
I'm going to just reject the fact that we don't know what a fact is.
Really?
I reject it outright. There is a difference between opinion and fact. And there is, journalists, like people that are, work for the New York Times, they know how to fact check.
They get it right, guys.
Journalism students are taught. You fact check 3 different sources.
Triple sourcing.
Journalists have gotten things wrong, though.
So this notion that, the reason that they're doing this is because, they can't fact check it.
But free speech gives you a right to be wrong. I have a right to post something that's inaccurate. I have a right to say the grass is blue.
Facts are different.
That shouldn't be taken down simply because it's fact, not true.
Disinformation is different. And so I think what you're finding is this company is also getting rid of content restrictions on topics like gender identity and immigration. Calling women, by the way, household objects is now permitted on Facebook.
I love my dishwasher.
Users are now allowed to, for example, refer to women as household objects.
It's an interesting conversation.
Let's take a break because
I need to finish what I'm saying.
There has to be.
The break is over and it gets heated.
This is about the fact that our many corporations, and especially these oligarchs that own these social media companies, are bowing down to Trump so that they can make money off of the American people.
Okay, if we can all have a bit of a conversation here. So this is actually more complex than we're making it, but on the free speech of it, and I actually agreed with Mark Zuckerberg. Of course, there's pressure because Trump's coming into office, but I do think that there's a cultural and societal desire to be able to talk about things openly. And actually, liberals used to be the ones who were super pro-free speech. The famous saying goes, "I disagree with what you're saying, but I'll defend to the death your right to say."
Yes,
so
but I will not defend to the death your right to call me.
Here.
Sometimes it happens like this. Be nice. She didn't talk for 20 minutes.
And I always like to hear what you say.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Catch that?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm trying to make the point that hate speech, something that incites violence, is not legally ever protected under the First Amendment. My ability to say a housewife is a household object, I can say that. It can offend you. I don't agree with it, but you absolutely, under the First Amendment, have a right to say it. And the fact that we're policing speech because it makes people uncomfortable or they don't like it or it offends them, I don't think it's how we should engage it.
If somebody decides, as they do often on these social media places, to call me
and say the word.
Well,
you
let's
can't say that word, Joyce says, I think. What'd she say? I don't know what she said.
As they do often
what?
on these social media places, to call me.
Oh.
And say the word.
Well, let's.
I get death threats on social media.
If we're going to have this conversation, then let's have it.
All right, go ahead.
Because if we're going to do that, we have to.
When you're losing an argument, what do? You bring up racism. It shuts everybody down.
Okay, so
racism.
There are certain things where we all agree, boy, you shouldn't be saying that. That is not curbing your free speech. It's asking you to, not you, it's asking one to respect the fact that people don't want to hear that word when it has to do with them or Native Americans or women.
There's also
or
an
any
element
of fact checking.
And that's my point.
But by the way, there is an element of choice that comes into this. I would never subscribe to somebody who would use that language or who would incite
No, but you're on a site that says now, maybe it's okay to say it.
It wasn't before. Well, you guys were focusing on hate speech, but some of the beginning things they did were Facebook removed all content that said COVID was a man-made disease.
And that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what Facebook did. They censored everything except for Democrats. Canceled for being correct. Hunter Biden's laptop. Russia. It's from Russia. You say it wasn't? Canceled. Shots are good for everybody. You don't dare go against that. And yes, of course, masks work. I think COVID came from a lab. What? Canceled.
For all of the folks who are applauding, you can also not get on Meta.
Well, that's the freedom, that's the choice. Rather than saying we have to shut down
thought of that.
What if it's in a rap lyric? What if it's something that's in a comedy sketch? Oftentimes, language is used in comedy that's represented on social media.
No, you don't hear it. You don't hear it very much on social media. You're not allowed to do it in comedy.
But that's not a good thing. I don't think silencing speech.
You can't just go out there and
calling people names.
I'm not saying calling people names. I'm saying some of these words that they're saying are protected.
Can I say something? There was a time when there were cartoons when I was a kid, right? And they would make fun of Italians. What's the matter, you? He's a pizza. Everybody was a pizza maker. And I, as a child, I felt like that was offensive to me. I'm making fun of their group in a nasty way.
Right.
Now, the people who are doing this are not from minority groups. They're from majority groups. And so
this is not me saying that every person at this table gets hate speech directed at them every day. No one is.
I guess no one gets to finish a sentence here anymore. Okay.
No, I think the point Melissa's making here is she is a free speech.
Don't speak for her. She speaks very well for herself.
No, but and I'm not doing that.
We all act like we're for free speech when it's
offensive to me. So
I want you to enjoy this part, okay? Watch the little hot mama's face when Joy says that.
I think the point Alyssa's making here is she is a free speech.
Don't speak for her. She speaks very well for herself.
No, but and I'm not doing that.
We all act like we're for free speech when it's the things we like. When somebody wants to defend the free speech of people we disagree with,
that is not true. I don't want you calling me. I don't want people to call.
Comedy needs to be able to push limits.
Listen, comedy does push limits, but be smarter in your comedy. You don't need to offend me to be funny. I don't need to offend you to be funny. And so
Bill Burr offends me. I love it.
No,
that's what I want.
That's actually not necessarily true. The best comedy doesn't always tend to be offensive. It just doesn't. Because there are things that we collectively can say, we respect everybody's right not to be called a name. If you take that away and you allow that, It's a problem.
They didn't allow it before, and they allow it now, and they allow
it's
it
not
now
a good
never
thing.
really existed on any platform I've been on.
Donald Trump.
There's never been a social media platform that's existed where you can't call people names. I've been called names on every platform that didn't exist.
But here's the thing: it doesn't
Donald Trump, it was
it doesn't make it right.
But let's say facts, not say because Donald Trump got elected, now you can call names on social media.
Well,
that's not true.
That's why Mark Zuckerberg is doing it.
Are you on the ground again? Yeah.
Unbelievable. That's all Whoopi does is call people names. She's called Trump the worst names you could possibly call anybody. It's how she makes a living. Anyways. Just thought I'd show you that. Subscribe? Bye-bye.
What's that?